Okay, so it's a new day. Yesterday I installed the tank and realized there was a bunch of small holes in it. As you can tell right here, there's one hole, there's another one, here's another one, there's another one right here, and a really small one right there, and then this decently sized one. So next step would be to cover the holes with, that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. I don't know if to get just abrasive rod melted onto here and then start building like a little pool and covering it like that, or just going back there using the welder and tack weld here. The problem is I really don't know how thick this metal is. I do have a tank outside, which is the busted one. I do believe it's full of gas still, so that's gonna be a little bit sketchy trying to welding onto that. I could drain out the gas, clean it out, make sure it's all good to go, make a hole, and then go try to fill it in back there with the welder and see if one, I could actually fill in a hole, or if I just end up melting more of this off. So I might just do that. So I'm gonna go grab the old tank, clean it out, make sure there's no fuel in there, so whenever we try to weld it, it doesn't explode on my face. Alright, so we're ready to do the test. We got drill a hole. Holes were about this size, so I got a grinder so I can grind the side. I can put my ground for the welder. So this is all trial and error. I really don't know if this is gonna work, but we'll figure it out. I did fill up the gas tank with water, so I'll make sure it won't explode on my face. If it does, it'll be in video. So exploded. Holy. Okay, let's try this again. Before I blow myself up or anything, I'm gonna go fill this thing completely up with water. Okay, so that was the second hole, and you can barely tell there was anything there. So I kind of figured it out. If you go at it too long, obviously you'll heat up the surface too much and then you'll just burn through it. So you just do tacks. Just tack it multiple times. Doesn't matter, you take a while, but you just tack it. And that's how you fill in holes for very thin metal. So that's the more you know. Let's go ahead and get the other one dried up and filled with water so it doesn't explode on me like this one did. See if we can fix the holes that are on it. Hopefully it'll be as simple as this one. You just tack it multiple times and then you're good to go. Obviously the other one is rusted, so getting the edges started will be a lot harder, mainly because the metal's so much thinner than this, than just drilling through it. Obviously the inside's already rusty and stuff, so I really hope that I can get a finish like this on the other one. I did buy some paint so we can paint it afterwards. It'll look good as new. So hopefully we can make it work, make it look nice so we can put it in the car. All right, I'm gonna go see what I can do with the other gas tank. Okay, so we got them pretty well done. There's a few pinholes, but we got most of it pretty well done. The pinholes, I'll just fill them in with solder. I don't think it's gonna be an issue. I was mainly worried about the big areas that were exposed to the rust, and obviously those were very fragile. So even if we put the solder on it, it might break later. So now that it's pretty well welded, we're gonna be able to put some solder on just this outside part, and should be good enough to make this nice and flush, and then we can paint all this. Then we're gonna go ahead and clean it up with the muriatic acid, and after the muriatic acid, we gotta kind of get all the grease and everything out of it. So what you do is just the degreaser, and after that you go ahead and apply the sealer. The sealer obviously will seal all the whole tank and prevent it from rusting again. So let's go ahead and get the solder out here with the torch, and we're gonna go ahead and fill these gaps in, the little tiny pinholes, and we should be good to go. All right, so here we have the gas tank for the 280Z. So we lined the whole thing. It's been around 2-3 days since we put in the, actually it's been 3 days since we put in the tank liner inside. What I'm gonna continue doing with this thing is, you see all those white holes right here? All those are basically holes that the tank liner kind of seep through. So just to be sure nothing else will happen in the future, what we're gonna do is sand this down, put some more JB Weld putty, kind of grind this putty down a little bit more flush, so we can go ahead and put the tank back inside the car. So what we want to do is kind of clean out the areas, put some more putty on there, and after that I'm gonna go ahead and just spray paint the tank black again, so it looks a little bit nicer. We have a nicer tank going back into the car. So let's go ahead and get started. All I gotta do is just sand this, like I said, with the grinder. This is like hard metal now, so all this putty solidifies quite well. So we're gonna check the whole thing, sand it down, make it look nicer, and we're gonna go ahead and paint it so it's ready to be slapped back into the car. So, amazing news. The tank is ready, 100% ready. It's fully painted. This thing looks minty. Heck yeah. So, we're gonna go ahead and install it into Z. Make sure it goes back in, and we're gonna fill the car back up with fuel so we can go ahead and actually start driving this thing. Okay, awesome. So we have the brand new refurbished gas tank back in it. I had to jack it up from this side because I didn't have enough clearance to fit the gas tank underneath the car. The car sits way too low, so. But yeah, we got her installed. Another thing I need to take care of before I start the car, start driving it, is this heater hose that goes to the heater core, goes into the cabin. So what I gotta do is basically remove this, see if I can go find a replacement part at O'Reilly's or something, and then we would be ready to start the car and drive it around. All right, so we're gonna start by removing the spark plugs on the 280Z, kind of inspect what they look like. That's the first thing that comes to mind that could be an issue. Very old spark plugs, and that's pretty normal with cars that have been sitting. So that's the first thing we're gonna try to fix, is the spark plug situation, or the misfire. I'm guessing it's a spark plug, but I got some old spark plugs from my E30, so we're gonna see what these spark plugs come out looking like. So the spark plugs are pretty white. That means it's a little bit lean. Other than that, it looks like it's burning fine. So, and these are better spark plugs than the ones I currently have. So we got the new spark plugs in. They're wired correctly as well. Made sure these were all good coming out the distributor. So we should be good to give it a test. This should be idling a lot better now. If not, we can continue looking for the source of our issue. But this is a great way to start killing off stuff that might be wrong with the car. And definitely spark plugs is one thing that has not been changed in who knows how long. So ideally, you want to change the spark plugs, and once you're done doing that, you want to go ahead and crank the car, see what's wrong with it. What the heck? took a little bit longer to start than usual. Seems to be idling a lot better now. No issues. Main thing that I have a problem with right now is I'm sure this thing has oil pressure, but my oil pressure gauge is currently not working. Oh, look, it started working. Crazy. Okay, well, I guess we have oil pressure now. So if I turn this off, it starts slowly decreasing. So this thing definitely has oil pressure now. I bet the connector was just loose. There was something wrong there, but dang, this thing's running pretty well. Pretty happy with it now. This thing's solid now. Idles pretty well. Very smooth. I have oil pressure. That was one big thing that I was worried about. My oil pressure does go up as I rev it. So that's a great sign. These oil pressure gauges are not very exact. So whenever you start revving up your engine, obviously it'll start going higher up, and these old cars just work like that. All right, I'm happy. We got oil pressure, which is great. That's something that we didn't have earlier. So we could actually probably drive this thing now. So I'm gonna let it warm up, let it do its thing, and we can go ahead and drive it in a second. Welcome back to the channel. We're gonna be doing some POV driving today. Today, the hoopty we're driving is this beautiful 280Z. So just recently got the gas tank back in it, just changed spark plugs. We're ready for the first test drive to see what else it actually needs. I don't know. This car was bought as a project. This thing never ran. I knew it started, but I never saw it drive. So now we're gonna start by putting it in first. This thing has no power steering, and I think that's just the way this car is, because I've never seen this. Oh my god, I really don't think it has power steering at all. Pretty sure these tires have flat spots. Yeah, these tires are not good for driving at all. These things are shot. So I'm gonna get back to the shop. The car itself drives fine. Doesn't feel like it needs anything in particular other than power steering, but this thing just has no power steering. That's how this car came. So there's no power steering pump in the engine bay, so definitely feel the vibration, and you could hear it more than anything, and it's vibrating pretty bad. So that definitely tells me there's flat spots on the tires. This car has been sitting for way too long. These tires are just shot. So the best thing to do is just change the tires and then give it another test drive. But other than that, the engine feels solid. It pulls. I need to change the shifter linkage bushing, because this thing just slops around in gear. but simple enough. The transmission has 0 issues. All right, well, the car runs fine. Definitely has some vibration issues, and that could mainly be because of the tires. The tires are basically shot. Okay, so we got the Datsun basically running. We went for a test drive, realized that it's vibrating a lot. So I started thinking, all right, really, is it that bad that the tires have flat spots? But it turns out these tires are not horrible. They're not to that extent. The valve stems are done. As soon as I move the valve stem, you lose air pressure, which is kind of funny, but these definitely need to be replaced. I'm guessing all the way around, but this one at least I can tell that's broken. So thinking it thoroughly, these tires don't look that bad, and then they don't have any visible flat spots. So what's the other thing that could be causing vibrations from the car while you're driving? One would be axles or drive shaft U-joint play, and this U-joint, it's not even connected. Once I started looking down here, I realized that the U-joint is actually the bearings are there, but you could pull out the caps, which is horrible. This should not be possible on a car. You should not be able to pull out your differential caps at all. So see where my differential's at. It's right there. My differential's right here, and it has a lot of play. When I mean a lot, I mean a lot. And the cap just fell in my hand. So that definitely tells you or shows you how bad this differential, in what condition it is. Thankfully, I've done a few of these, so it's pretty easy to fix that. So what you need is basically a new U-joint for the drive shaft, and I already have that ordered, and it should be here tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm gonna jack the car up and take out the drive shaft and basically refurbish the drive shaft. So brand new U-joints on both sides. So we have fresh ones going into the car, so we eliminate the vibrations, and from there we can see, and from there we'll be able to see what else is once we get those replaced, we can go test drive it again, and we'll see what else the car actually needs mechanically wise. Other than that, I believe it's solid. I don't think it needs much else, just the U-joint, and that will be here tomorrow at 12, and we'll be back tomorrow replacing the U-joints on this drive shaft, and hopefully that eliminates the vibrations from the car that we're getting currently, and it would be good to go to the body shop now this time for real, because I thought it was ready. Completely wrong. Drive shaft is done. So we'll see you guys tomorrow whenever we fix this thing.